Hi everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel, A World of Information and Techniques. Today we will talk about some intentions of a Muslim. So the following are some intentions which can be made for the various deeds and ibadat carried out daily. 1. When retiring to your bed at night, to seek Allah Ta'ala's pleasure. To take rest, because it is the command of Allah Ta'ala. To gain the rewards of the masnoon du'as recited at the time of sleeping. To sleep a portion of the night, as it is a sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. To intend to perform tahajjud salah. To intend to perform the far salah. To fulfill the rights of one's body. To sleep and gain enough strength to carry out one's duties and responsibilities for the following day, insha'Allah. For example, to go out to earn a halal livelihood. 2. Before leaving home, to make an intention to keep away from sins. To recite the masnoon du'as and draw Allah Ta'ala's protection. To be of service to humanity. To serve one's parents. To perform all 5 salat in the masjid, to spend the entire day on the pattern and way of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. To visit the sick, feed the poor, help the needy and orphans. To learn and teach deen. To engage in as much nafil ibadat as possible as ikrala, nafil salah, sadaqah, etc., to read a portion of the Quran Sharif. To strengthen family ties. To express shukr, gratitude, to Allah Ta'ala for all His bounties and favors. And to use them in a manner that is pleasing to Him. To fulfill the rights of all those who have rights over the person. To earn halal sustenance. To try and remain with wudu throughout the day. To carry out the tasks of the day with ikhlas and for the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala alone. To remind our children to renew their intention when going to school and madrasa. The following intention and dua can be made: O Allah, I am going to school and madrasa to learn. Please strengthen my memory and increase my concentration. Whatever I learn, allow me to use it in your obedience and for the service of your deen. 3. When using the toilet, to express shukr to Allah Ta'ala that He has created such a system whereby our bodies are cleansed and purified of all harmful things. To practice upon the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, by fulfilling all the sunnats and etiquettes of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, using the toilet. To intend that this be a means of Allah Ta'ala ridding one of pride. A person should reflect his reality when using the toilet and realize that there is nothing to be proud of. 4. When making wudu, to seek the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala. To engage in an act of ibadah. To follow the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. For the wudu to be a means of sins being washed away, with the washing of every limb, forgiveness and barakat in sustenance, based on the masnoon dua recited while making wudu, protection from sin, O my beloved Nabi recognizing me on the day of Qiyamah. 5. When wearing clothes, to seek Allah Ta'ala's pleasure, to fulfill the command of Allah Ta'ala to cover my satir, to follow the sunnah manner of dressing and to recite the masnoon duas. To adopt modesty and simplicity in accordance to the sunnah, to dress neatly and beautifully since Allah Ta'ala loves beauty. This should not be misconstrued. This does not mean to be lavish, extravagant and dress to show off, etc., to dress and carry oneself in such a way that it becomes a means of dawat and hidayah for others. 6. When going to the masjid, to visit the house of Allah Ta'ala. To wait and anticipate the Jamat Salah. To be protected from sin by being in the masjid. To acquire the knowledge of deen as well as pass on the knowledge of deen to others, to enjoin good and prohibit evil. To make salam to fellow Muslim brothers, to engage in muhasabah, taking stock of oneself, and seek forgiveness for one's sins, to apply itar on the day of Jumu'ah, as is sunnah, with the intention of honoring the masjid and not causing inconvenience to others, to intend that people will be protected from bad thoughts and ghibat, since bad odor will result in people taking offense and even speaking ill of one. For the brain to be refreshed, to listen to the talks of deen. 7. When one intends to perform any salah, to seek the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala. To fulfill the command of Allah Ta'ala. To perform salah, fulfilling the sunnah method as taught by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. To seek protection from all shameless and lewd actions. To intend for the salah to be a means of protection from the punishment in the grave and a protection from the fire of Jahannam. For sins to be washed away. For salah to become the coolness of my eyes. To read salah with complete ikhlas, sincerity, free of riyah, show, ujub, vanity, and takabur, pride. For protection from the attacks of nafs and shaitan. To read Salah with concentration, submissiveness, and humility. To enjoy conversing with Allah Ta'ala, to take directly from Allah Ta'ala's unlimited treasures. For Salah to be a means of barakah in all aspects of life. For Noor, the hadith describes Salah as Salata Nurun. Just as light is a source of guidance for a person, so too will Salah guide a person out of the darkness of sins towards righteousness. 8. When reading Quran Sharif, to fulfill the command of Allah Ta'ala, i.e., I am the slave of Allah Ta'ala, fulfilling my Master's command. To recite in the manner that is sunnah, distinctly and clearly, with care, not in haste, for thawab, reward. For hidayah, guidance. For nur, light. To gain the closeness of Allah Ta'ala. To remember one's door if one is a hafiz. To remember the laws of tajweed if one is a qari. To remember how to read if one knows how to read, not Sarah. For the Quran Sharif to intercede on one's behalf on the day of Qiyamah. Sahih Muslim, Hadith 223. To gain najat, salvation, from the fire of Jahannam. So that the heart should contain even a little portion of the Quran Sharif, since the hadith states that the one whose bosom does not contain any portion of the Quran Sharif is like a deserted house. To act upon the commandments of the Quran Sharif and achieve the highest stages of Jannah, inshallah. For shifa, cure, of all physical and spiritual sicknesses. For islah, reformation, and tazkiyah, purification. To attract Allah Ta'ala's rahmah, mercy, and barakah, blessings, and acquire peace of mind and contentment. To revive the heart, strengthen the sight and remove all worries and griefs. To leave the world whilst reciting the Quran Sharif, as Hadrat Uthman's was blessed with martyrdom whilst reciting the Quran Sharif. To increase one's iman. To increase one's love for Allah Ta'ala. To increase one's knowledge and marifat, recognition, of Allah Ta'ala, as this will cause one to become humble and beg before Allah Ta'ala at all times. To become of the household of Allah Ta'ala and of His favored servants, as mentioned in the hadith. For the Quran Sharif to become one's companion in the qabr, grave. For Isail Thawab. To recite for the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala, which is the greatest and most important intention. 9. When eating, to seek the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala. To fulfill the command of Allah Ta'ala. To follow the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, by eating as Nabi I did, by reading the Masnin du'as and drawing the rewards and benefits, inshallah. For Allah Ta'ala to enable me to gain strength from the food eaten so that I may carry out acts of worship. For Allah Ta'ala to sustain me with halal and tayyib, wholesome, food only. 10. When doing business, going to your work or providing a service to people, for the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala. To fulfill a command of Allah Ta'ala. To seek halal rizq, sustenance. To earn, to provide for my family. To provide a service for my customers. To trade honestly, with the intention of being counted amongst the Anbiya, the truthful ones and the martyrs, as mentioned in the hadith. To trade in such a manner that every sunnah of my beloved Nabi is practiced upon. To interact with non-Muslims in such a manner that it becomes a means of dawah. To be fair and just to my employees. To earn and spend in noble and rewarding avenues such as for the poor and needy. For the upliftment of the deen of Allah Ta'ala, etc. 11. When cooking food and taking care of household chores, to seek the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala. To earn the rewards of taking care of husband and children. To share in the rewards of the good deeds done by those who eat the food that one prepares. To follow the sunnah of the pious women of the Ummah like Hadrat Khadija and Hadrat Fatima. 12. When going for a holiday, picnic or taking the family out, for the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala. To spend money on my family with the intention of gaining the rewards of sadaqah, as mentioned in the hadith, when a Muslim spends on his family intending to receive Allah's reward. It is regarded as sadaqah for him, Sahih Bukhari. To spend quality time with my family. To fulfill my responsibility as a father to my children and as a husband to my wife, by protecting them from going to the wrong places. To go out and view Allah Ta'ala's qudrat and gain the marifat of Allah Ta'ala, which is also ibadat. 13. When visiting the sick, to seek the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala. To fulfill a command of Allah Ta'ala, to fulfill the right of my Muslim brother. To fulfill the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. To gain the great rewards as mentioned in the hadith. To gain the du'as of 70,000 angels who make du'a of forgiveness for the one who visits a sick person. Tirmidhi, Hadith 969. To request the du'as of the sick person, since a sick person's du'as are readily accepted. To offer encouragement, support, and hope. To bring happiness to the heart of a mu'min. To strengthen family ties. 14. When attending a janazah, to seek the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala and to obtain the great rewards. To fulfill a command of Allah Ta'ala. To fulfill the right of my Muslim brother. To fulfill the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. To take lesson and take heed of the shortness of life and to prepare for death. To be a means of moral support for the grieving family. 15. When accepting an invitation from a Muslim brother, this is in respect to that invitation which does not entail any haram such as music, photography, intermingling, etc., to seek the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala, to fulfill a command of Allah Ta'ala, to fulfill the right of Muslim brother, to fulfill the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to increase mutual love for the sake of Allah Ta'ala. To bring happiness to the heart of a mu'min, to strengthen family ties. 16. When interacting with people, to seek the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala, to showcase the akhlaq, character, of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, with those whom I meet. To uphold the commands of Allah Ta'ala and practice on the sunnah. 17. When making zikr, to earn the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala. To fulfill a command of Allah Ta'ala. To follow the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. To clean and polish my heart. To gain nearness to Allah Ta'ala. For zikrullah to be a means of reforming my heart. To attain the muhabbat, love, and marifat, recognition, of Allah Ta'ala. To gain the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala, to protect my chastity and stay pure and safe from all haram. To be a good example for the community. To fulfill the rights of my spouse. To become a means of bringing pious children into the world. To raise children giving them dini tarbiyah and talim. 19. When being intimate with one's spouse, to fulfill the right of one's spouse. To take care of one's need in a halal avenue. To fulfill the command of Allah Ta'ala. To practice upon the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. To adhere to every action that is sunnah and jaiz, permissible, during intimacy. 20. When bringing up children, to fulfill a command of Allah Ta'ala. To undertake the spiritual nurturing, tarbiyah, of my children seeking the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala. To fulfill my responsibility as a parent towards my child that my children grow up to emulate Nabi and the Sahaba Kiram. For my children to be a means of thawabi jariyah for me after I have passed on. 21. When interacting with family members, to fulfill a command of Allah Ta'ala. To fulfill the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. To seek the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala. To maintain family ties whether the family members reciprocate the same or not. And in the last, please like and share this video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching this video.